Patrick, that is marvellous. Where did you say it was? The Botticelli Gallery, Worthing. No, I haven't heard of it, but then that doesn't mean a thing. I mean, I'm just an amateur. Oh, yes, I am. All I do is hand around the catalogues and the sherry. Sorry? What did you say? You want me to come? Tomorrow? Oh, Patrick, that is marvellous. What time does it start? Oh, no, of course it isn't too early. I'll leave at the crack of dawn. The boys can pour out their own cornflakes for once. I'll put the milk jug with the handle pointing in the right direction.
Hello.
Huh? Oh, how nice. Yeah, I've always wanted to meet your mother.
Well, I'm home.
You must bring her here. I mean, I know the gallery is tiny, but we just love to see her. And Edwin is dying to meet you.
Oh.
That can't be homework.
No. We're designing a nuclear power station, Bernard and me. These are just the plans.
Ah.
The plutonium's the only problem.
Yeah, well, it would be, wouldn't it? Yes, it would be.
I only started the gallery for something to do. I mean, you know that.
Well, I'd better get this down to the workshop.
What workshop?
Bernard's. He got a proper bench for his birthday.
You asked me for that book on how to win at poker.
I shan't be late.
And the music stand.
That is absolutely outrageous. But I love it. Yes, I'll be there at 10. And Patrick, thank you so much. Yeah, bye. Oh, that is super.
Sounded like it, yeah.
I'm going to Worthing.
Worthing? Wow.
Patrick's having an exhibition. He's invited me down.
Patrick.
Oh, you know, Patrick Shorthouse. He painted that.
Oh, yes, that. Yes, now what's that called? Yes, wait a minute. Locust devouring sheep during sandstorm at Epsom Downs.
That is Lockwood Church. Please try not to be so childish.
Yeah. What's all that about cornflakes?
Well, you don't mind getting your own breakfast for once, do you? I have to leave early. And do make sure Robert eats something.
Yeah, well, if you come back and find us lying both supine in the kitchen, you know I've failed.
And I may not be back until 10.
Yes, I'm going to be late, too.
Tomorrow? Oh, no. Why?
We are switching on the new ventilation system at the plant.
Well, why on earth does that mean you'll be late?
Because it's different. Anything younger than Stonehenge and not sanctified by custom and practice is a cue for everybody to down tools and have a meeting. It's one of the first things you learn when you go into labour relations.
They all sound like you.
Like me?
Change. Every time I say I want to do something different, like starting the gallery, for instance, you say that I am tearing up the roots of our marriage. Men are all the same. They are terrified of change. Cheers.
Cheers. Robert! Nearly 8:30.
What happens in Worthing?
It's the Athens of West Sussex. Have you got your clarinet?
Yep.
Jolly good. Listen, why is every tie you possess eaten through with acid? I mean, what are they teaching you at that place? Etching? Or is it bank robbery?
I shall be going down to Bernard's after school and I'll be late.
Yeah, well, if I'm not back, get yourself something to eat, all right? And for goodness sake, leave some dirty dishes lying around for your mother to see. Frankly, I don't give a damn.
Me too.
Have a wonderful day.
And you. Give the workers hell, Dad.
That boy is turning into a fascist. Here we go. The first of the day. Hello, Thornfield. Oh, hello, Maggie. No, I'm sorry, darling. No, she's gone down to Worthing. Yeah, she'll be coming back. I expect. Thank you, Maggie. All right, my darling. Bye-bye. Silly twit. I don't believe it. Robert! Robert!
Have you taken the day off?
You forgot it, didn't you? Your clarinet, you forgot it.
No.
Well, what's this, then?
That's just the case. I told you we've got orchestra tonight.
Well, why isn't your clarinet in your clarinet case?
The handle's NG.
Handles what?
Broken.
I think you might have told me.
What good would that have done? Must go now, Dad. Thanks a lot, anyway.
He does know what day it is.
Oh, he's sure to.
I don't know how long I can keep my members quiet.
Perhaps he's had a puncture.
On the day they switch the new ventilators on. But I could try it on them. I'll be back.
Mr. Thornfield's office? No, Mr. Lazenby, he's not. We've come to the conclusion he's probably had a puncture. Well, people do. My dad had... Yes, I'll tell him, Mr. Lazenby.
Oh, dear. Morning, Alice. Any messages?
There's been a down tools in the bending and pressing shop, and Mr. Lazenby rang to ask why.
What did you tell him?
I said you'd had a puncture.
That is not brilliant, Alice. What happens tomorrow morning if I do have a puncture? I mean, it's always best on these occasions to tell the truth. It is perfectly simple. My son, Robert, went off to school without his clarinet. Naturally, I went after him. But he hadn't forgotten his clarinet after all. Then I dropped the case on the ground. And I suppose it's simpler, really, a puncture, isn't it?
There's no reason why you shouldn't have a puncture 2 days running.
Well, it's a bit suspicious, isn't it? Though my neighbours have been dropping tacks all over my drive. No, we'll stick to a puncture today, and then we'll let the chips fall where they will for the rest of the week. Come in. Mr. Blundell.
We had a puncture, I understand.
Yes, it's amazing how these things happen, particularly when you want to be on time, isn't it? Please do sit down.
I'd rather stand.
Perhaps you'd like to start off sitting down. Then if the situation calls for it, you can stand up later.
Somebody has removed all the thermometers.
What?
Off the walls in bending and pressing.
You're joking.
Me? I need hardly remind you that we have a local agreement whereby thermometers are to be prominently displayed on the workshop floor for the purpose of checking that the temperature does not exceed that as laid down by the Factories Act of 1961. There was that slight unpleasantness in '76.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Mind you, that was a beautiful summer, wasn't it? Mrs. Thornfield wanted a swimming pool put in, I remember, and we asked the council. They said yes, providing we didn't fill it with water. I do remember that agreement, Mr. Blundell, yes.
Which has now been breached.
Yes, indeed. I'll get on to the house manager straight away.
My members want action, Mr. Thornfield. At the moment, they're taking an early break in the canteen, pending the restoration of normal working conditions.
Edwin, why is everyone on strike?
But they're not on strike, Frank. They've merely gone into the canteen for a few moments while
The time is 9:42 and there's not a man working. Is it Arthur Scargill's birthday?
No, Frank, no. You see, the problem is someone has stolen all the thermometers. Now, there is a local agreement...
Why weren't you there to stop it?
Well, it was a small family crisis, Frank. Well, not a crisis. My goodness me, no. I mean, after all, I'm paid to handle crises. No, you see, my wife, that's Mrs. Thornfield, she's gone to Worthing. Now, my son Robert, he hasn't gone to Worthing, but he...
As you know...
And of course, Frank, I had a puncture. I'd forgotten that.
As you know, Edwin, we have to turn out 160 Princess Grace kitchen units every working week. If it drops to 159, then I have Munich on the phone.
Yes, indeed, Frank.
And I have to tell them.
Tell them.
The whys and the wherefores.
Oh, yes, those. Yes, indeed, Frank, yes.
And I have to name names. I don't like doing it, Edwin. Because Munich puts everything on that damn great computer of theirs, which at the end of the year tells us whether we're going to have a big rise, no rise at all, or simply the sack. It gives me no pleasure, Edwin, to see the black marks piling up against your name, because personally I like you. I like your clothes. I like your wife. But if you don't get that work-shy bunch of anarchists back on their feet and bent over their presses, well, I'm afraid it's going to be the telephone.
Yes, I do understand, Frank.
And I don't want to know about thermometers, Edwin. I want to know about Princess Grace kitchen units falling off the end of that production line like leaves in autumn. Am I getting through to you, Edwin?
Yeah, and out the other side, Frank.
Then get down there and sort the swine out.
Straight away, Frank. Frank, I don't think we should refer to them as swine. They're jolly good chaps, really.
When they're working, they're jolly good chaps. When they're not, they're swine. I don't want to argue about it.
Certainly not, Frank.
They ring me at home, you know.
no.
They've got some chap in Munich who spends the entire night pressing buttons, analysing computer readouts, assessing Hoffman-Pressburger's performance worldwide.
Really?
Must be some sort of nut, don't you think? Unfit for decent society?
Now, obviously unmarried.
What?
Well, I mean, if he's working all night, Frank, I would imagine he's unmarried, because I don't think his wife...
Yes,
you know, he's
yes,
up-
of course, I see what you mean. I suppose if he was married, Hoffman-Pressburger would be a completely different sort of company. Less efficient.
More fun to work for.
Less profitable.
Nicer. I must go and see about those thermometers, Frank. Excuse me.
Nicer?
Granville, have you nicked my thermometers? Well, why, for heaven's sake? You know those thermometers are enshrined in a sacred local agreement. Oh, that is very clever. Fixing all the thermometers.
Fixing the thermometers?
Mending the thermometers. Mr. Walker is at this moment mending all the thermometers.
But they weren't broken.
They were slightly clogged.
Rather a convenient bit of maintenance on the day all the ventilators are turned off.
Mr. Blundell, are you suggesting that there is some connection?
Yes.
Are you suggesting that we would stoop so low?
Yes.
I don't think I can continue this conversation.
OK.
Yes, I can.
Mr. Thornfield, I have just come from the workshop floor. There is no ventilation. The temperature has got to be well inside the forbidden zone, as specified by Act of Parliament. It's hell down there, Mr. Thornfield.
Mr. Blundell, surely. The use of the word hell is a slight exaggeration.
Mr. Thornfield, have you ever had to work on the factory floor?
No, Mr. Blundell. We've had this conversation many times before. I would have thought we cleared that point up by now.
It's not much fun down there.
Work, Mr. Blundell, is not much fun. Checking local agreements against national agreements. National agreements against customs and practice. Customs and practice against downright bloody-mindedness is not much fun. Look at poor Alice there. Look at her. Typing, filing, answering the telephone all day long. It is not exactly hysterical. Getting sworn at on the telephone by head office in German is not a million laughs. So, Mr. Blundell, would you please return to your members and tell them that management is worried sick about the thermometers, but even now, the new ventilation system is about to be switched on, and Jerusalem will be builded here. So would they mind, please, doing a little work? It'll help pass the time.
I shall report back to my members, and then I shall report back. You know where to find me?
Yes, standing by the coffee urn. Honestly, Alice, why? I mean, I would imagine they prefer to work. I mean, the coffee's so terrible.
Pretty smart, eh? Taking down the thermometers.
Yes, that was brilliant, really brilliant. But if they're not back up on the walls in 5 minutes, the jolly good chaps, the swine, are going to burn the place down.
Let 'em.
Oh, I see. You don't think the Munich would mind?
Yes, he is. For you.
Alice, I am far too busy at the moment. My wife. Thank you, Alice.
Darling, it's me. No, I don't expect you did. Look, I've done a dreadfully silly thing.
Look, you couldn't ring back, could you?
I said I'd see Vera Porchester this evening at about 8. She's coming round. Well, I won't be back until about 10. Do you think you could ring her for me?
Well, actually, I'm right at the moment.
It is absolutely buzzing here. I haven't got a moment. Tell her I'm very sorry and I'll ring her in the morning. Oh, God. Patrick's waving at me. I must rush, darling. Bye.
Here, goodbye.
Anyhow, we're insured.
Vera Porchester. What? What?
Look, in 10 minutes' time, we're switching on the new ventilation system, and then all your troubles will be over.
That shows you how little you know about labour relations. Our workforce is like toothpaste. Child's play to get out, but you try bloody well getting it back in again.
You coming down to watch?
Coming down to watch? Certainly not. It's hell down there.
You're missing a treat.
Alice, get me Mrs. Porchester, please, will you?
What's the number?
I don't know what her number is, Alice. Look it up in the book. It's the Blackberries Gibbet Lane. Or the Gibbet Blackberries Lane, I can't remember.
They wouldn't call their house the Gibbet, would they?
Oh, you don't know the Porchesters. Thornfield. Ah, Frank, I'm so glad you called. Yes, Frank, yes, I do know that they are all in the canteen. But Granville has confessed about the thermometers, Frank. And he's going down now to switch on the new ventilating plant. And Blundell has given a firm undertaking not to write fascist scum all down the side of your car. So, you see, I mean, I do call that progress, Frank. That is a victory for common sense. No, that was a joke, Frank. No, well, you're probably right. It's not quite the time for jokes, I suppose. Ah, right, Frank. Thank you very much. Yes, I will. I'll do that straight away, Frank. I'm glad you reminded me. Thank you.
There's only one Porchester in the book. Woodworm specialist.
Well, that sounds like them, except he's a dentist. It's not in the book, of course. It's a new number. I mean, try directory inquiries, will you, Alice?
You've got to have the correct address.
Yes.
Pardon me, Mr. Thornfield, but the canteen is now refusing to serve any more coffee.
Is that a complaint or a vote of thanks?
It's some nonsense about rest periods. Now, it's not good enough. I played ball with you, but you have not played ball with me.
Mr. Blundell, I've been playing ball with you all morning.
My members are being victimised.
It has to close sometimes, Mr. Blundell. It is not a 24-hour Oxfam shop.
Unless there is a restoration of status quo, i.e. coffee on tap, I cannot answer for the consequences.
Very well. I shall go downstairs to the canteen, personally, myself, and I will talk to the canteen manager. So, I just hope he's not in one of his vicious moods.
So, I can expect to hear the good news in a very short time, then.
What good news?
About the coffee. Oh.
We just don't talk the same language. Thornfield. Robert. Why'd you in school? What? You mean you've got telephones in the classrooms now? Well, haven't you got a new reed? Your spare one. And your spare one is in your clarinet case. Yes, and your clarinet case is in my car, and my car is downstairs in the car park, isn't it? No, Robert, I cannot pop round. No, Robert. You will just have to sit for once and listen to your own orchestra. I don't see why you shouldn't suffer for a change.
Your son sounds very artistic.
Yes, he is very, very artistic, yes. He plays the clarinet and designs nuclear power stations. Mind you, his main talent lies in the area of three-card brag. I'm now going downstairs, Alice, to see the canteen manager, personally, myself. If I'm not back in a couple of hours, you will tell my family where I've gone, won't you?
I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say to Edwin's face, but he should realise that these union chaps can smell weakness, sort of animal thing.
How right you are.
I can't think why he got so hysterical about your thermometer wheeze. I thought it was a perfectly reasonable piece of low cunning. And I'm sure Munich would agree.
I'm glad you think so, Frank.
Pigs. I mean, Edwin's quite a nice chap, really. He just cannot handle the unions, that's all. And he's a nice fellow, nice family, an intelligent go-ahead wife. She'd probably be very good at Edwin's job. What's that?
That'll be the new ventilation system starting.
Shouldn't you be down there supervising it?
No, it's not necessary, Frank. Everything's under control. Are you sure? Well, it was when I left. Perhaps I'd better just go down and double-check. Frank.
This place is like a lunatic asylum. I went into the canteen. Now, all I said was, do you think you could keep the coffee on just a little longer? The chef burst into tears. I mean, he's a grown man. Got 2 sons in the Merchant Navy. And that wasn't all, believe me. Then, of course, then they switched on the ventilation system. Do you remember in Dante's Inferno, when Paolo and Francesca were doomed to go through a whole stormy world throughout eternity?
No.
It was just like that. I mean, you could not see across the shop floor for sawdust and bits of paper and a packing case and some quite large pieces of wood. Apparently, Alice, what happened was they turned the setting on the engines up too high. Yes. Mr. Granville Walker had forgotten to check the manufacturer's instructions. It was total chaos. It was bloody marvellous! Anyway, the whole workforce has now been sent home. There's poor Mr. Lazenby locked in his office talking to Munich. Oh, I must say, coming back here is like returning to the peace of a monastery, Alice.
Mrs. Thornfield rang. She hasn't got Mrs. Porteous's number. That's why she rang you in the first place. But Mrs. Slingsby has.
Oh, yeah. Erica Slingsby's got everything.
Mrs. Thornfield gave me Mrs. Slingsby's number, but there's no reply. I tried 3 times.
Hello. Oh, Monica, darling.
Edwin, I've just remembered the Slingsbys have gone to Amsterdam, so it's no use trying them. But Maggie Wilkins has got Vera's number. It's 77099. Could you try her?
Look, it's bedlam here, darling. I mean, couldn't you try Maggie yourself?
Edwin, I haven't got a moment.
I've just been on the phone to Munich.
Really?
Edwin? Hello? Edwin?
They wanted the names of all the culprits.
Really?
Oh.
Darling, it's a bit hectic here.
There's Patrick waving at me again. I must rush, darling. Now, don't forget, ring Maggie.
Worthing.
Munich. It's quite cool and collected. No panic. They had your name already.
My name?
And Granville's, and Blundell's. They've got everything at their fingertips.
Frank, why have they got my name?
Because we have lost an entire day's production and you are in charge of labour relations.
But that wasn't my fault, Frank. After all, it was Granville who nicked all the thermometers. It was his men who set the engines too fast. And it was the canteen manager who turned off the coffee. So where do I come in?
You're not trying to wriggle out of it, are you?
Frank, I'm not in it. Well, I mean, obviously I am in it, but I shouldn't be in it.
That's not what Munich thinks.
Honestly, Frank, I don't see why I should take
Well,
the blame.
I can't waste time talking about it now. I have work to do. Reports for Munich. All the names. You're not rushing off home tonight, are you?
Hello, Robert.
Hi.
What the hell is that?
Heat exchanger.
That's not part of your nuclear...
No, no.
God for that.
We're finishing off the power station tomorrow. Bernard's got my aunt staying.
Lucky old Bernard.
Had to do an extra period of English today because I didn't have a spare read.
Oh, dear.
2 periods of maths, then economics, then geography, then an extra period of English. Look, you're a big deal in the business world. What did Wuthering Heights ever do for you?
We didn't do Wuthering Heights. We had hard times. Come to think of it, I think I would have been better off, Robert, if I had studied the Commando Assault Manual.
Bad day.
A bad day. Bad day. We had a stoppage. Not a strike, a stoppage. But we did lose 32 Princess Grace kitchen units. So somebody's going to get lines, that's for sure.
South Bucks KGB telling you to straighten your tie and stop laughing every 10 minutes.
No, that is quite true, quite true. Mind you, we don't have a great laughing problem at Hoffman's at the moment.
Oh, that's what I mean. I'm going to bed.
Had your supper?
Yep, beans.
Beans and what?
There wasn't anything else.
What are you talking about? The damn fridge is packed with food.
Not food you can eat. I shall see you in the morning.
Good night, Robert. Oh. Lockwood Garden Centre. Oh, Monica.
Edwin, I'm in Berkshire,
Congratulations.
just outside Reading.
Yes, darling, I'm with you.
Oh, God, I wish you were.
Oh, Monica, darling.
I've got a puncture.
Now, look, just a minute, Monica, hang on.
And it is pouring with rain.
Yes, well, darling, the spare's in very good condition. I checked it with the garage just last week.
I can't get the ratchet thing to work. And the handle keeps coming out of the square bit. And I can't get the wheel out of the boot. And I don't want to stop a car and ask for help because, well, I mean, you never know, do you?
No, I suppose you can't be 1,000% sure. But the chance of the only sex maniac in Berkshire being out tonight, I think is absolutely nil. No, Monica, I've had a very, very bad day and I'm tired. I'm not coming out tonight. No, Monica. Absolutely no.
She's an extraordinary woman, Patrick's mother. Well, she must be 60, but she looks about 38. Well, an old 38.
Damn.
She's coming up for Patrick's next exhibition. I've said they must both come and have dinner with us.
You pig!
What did you say, Edwin?
I was talking to a nut. Look, why don't I hide in a hedge? Then you stop someone and get them to change the wheel. Then if it does turn out to be the Berkshire sex maniac, I will jump out and protect you.
Why does it have to be a maniac?
Because only a maniac... Sorry, I've had a very bad day. We had a stoppage. Not a strike, a stoppage. It was Walker's fault, really, but of course I am the one who was going to have his card marked. And it's just like this puncture, that puncture. You are the one who drives over the tin tack, but I am the one who is out here mending the bloody wheel in the pouring rain.
You are the man, darling. You are the one who is strong and resourceful and technically minded. Oh, darling, let's get back to that nut.
I am sick of that nut.
It's just a little nut. I don't understand it. When we were first married, you were quite strong. What happened? I mean, you're not exactly senile.
I am tired, I am fed up, and I am very wet. And tomorrow morning, Lazenby is going to tell me all about his midnight phone call, and I do believe it's raining harder. Look, why don't we go home in my car, leave your car here, and then I will call the garage in the morning and they can come and pick it up.
Leave my car here all night? By itself?
By itself? But it's got trees and hedges and things to talk to.
By the morning, it will have been stripped to the axle by hooligans. My car.
Hooligans don't work in the pouring rain.
I have a better idea.
Ah, you want to get in the hedge?
I'll take your car, drive home, and ring the AA. You wait here for them. Now, what's wrong with that?
Oh, Monica, darling, come on. It may take hours. They may not even come at all. I shall be spending all night huddled up in the car.
Darling, I will make it up to you.
Yeah, that's what you said when you dragged me to that ghastly fancy dress party at the Pattersons. That was 2 years ago. I'm still waiting.
What we'll do? We'll be very, very wicked.
Yes?
We'll go and have a superb dinner, just the two of us, at Les Deux Colombes. We'll go on Wednesday. We're not doing anything on Wednesday.
Super.
Just you and me at our old corner table.
Knockout.
I'll get home now as quickly as I can and ring that silly old AA. You get in the car and keep dry.
I wouldn't want to get wet.
No, don't be so silly, darling. Get here. You won't walk through the sitting room in your wet shoes, will you? Bye-bye, then. I'll see you in the morning if I'm asleep when you get in.
Bye.
Dinner at Les Deux Colombes. Leave work early by some dangerous subterfuge. Drive all the way into town. Try to find somewhere to park. Have dinner. Resist temptation to drink heavily. Pay bill. Not a penny under 25 quid. And drive all the way home. Into bed. Night-night, darling. Night-night. What a sexy way to spend a Wednesday night. Wednesday night. The Cup replay on television Wednesday night. Oh, no.
Monica! Monica! Not Wednesday, darling. How about Friday? I'll take you out to dinner. Same scene, different reason. A little corner table,
Monica.